Dear ladies and gentlemen, participants of the colloquium, as a representative of Baku International Multiculturalism Center, I would like you to give just a brief information about our activity. As you all know, Azerbaijan is a country at the crossroads of the numerous cultures, religions, and civilizations. As a representative of Baku International Multiculturalism Center, I would like to give a brief information about the activity of our center. As you all know, Azerbaijan is a country at the crossroads of the numerous cultures, religions, and civilizations, and since antiquity, this land was known as a bridge between Europe and Asia, and become the center of cultural diversity after it became the part of the Silk Road. As a result, nowadays, Azerbaijan is the motherland for Zoroastrians, Sunni and Shia Muslims, Caucasian Alban Christians, Russian Orthodox Christians, Moluccans, European Jews, Mountain Jews, and the motherland of more than 70 ethnical groups living on its territory. Azerbaijan becomes the most polyethnic, polyconfessional countries in the world, and not only does Azerbaijan have a wide range of ethnical cultures, it also preserves the customs, traditions, and values of each culture in all spheres of life. Ethno-confessional variety in Azerbaijan is a result of centuries-old coexistence with its historical and cultural life. Nowadays, Azerbaijan playing a unique role as a country between East and West, a country with a predominantly Muslim population, with secular government and secular society, which is also member of Council of Europe and at the same time member of Cooperation of Islamic Organization. So we're trying to use this great opportunity and to bring people closer, civilizations closer, and to conduct intercultural dialogue. Azerbaijan becomes an important format for humanitarian forums, alliance of civilizations, and there are much to offer to universal value system. Multiculturalism is one of the directions of state policy in Azerbaijan, and government pays special attention to it. The third Baku Humanitarian Forum discussed a lot multiculturalism, and right after the next year after the third humanitarian forum in 2014, by the decree of the president, Baku International Multiculturalism Center was established. Our center, so therefore multiculturalism for us is not an idea which is being discussed today, whether it works or doesn't work, whether it failed or not. For us, multiculturalism is our way of life. It is not only way of life, as I told you before, it is our state policy. Azerbaijani multiculturalism has much to offer to universal value system because we accumulated very important experience in this area with, which underlines the activity of our center. The center carries out its activity in two main dimensions, and the first dimension involves research-oriented activity, activity related to the study of multiculturalism from interdisciplinary perspective. In this respect, we organize systematic research into the traditions of Azerbaijani multiculturalism and into the global practices of multiculturalism. The subject of Azerbaijani multiculturalism is successfully taught at 38 universities locally in Azerbaijan and 15 very well-known world universities, among which Lithuanian University of Educational Sciences, Switzerland Freiburg University, in Germany Augsburg and Würzburg University, in Poland Wrocław University, Russia Ural Federal University, Belarus State University, in Bulgaria St. Clement Orchidski Sofia University, in Italy La Sapienza, the Czech Republic Charles University, in Georgia Tbilisi State University, in Portugal Lusafona, Turkey Erciyes University, Poltava University of Economics and Trade, in Ukraine, and Indonesia, Gajah Mada University. Worth mentioning that recently the center opens its branches in Italy, Israel, Moldova, Germany, Russia, Georgia, and Portugal. The center provides trainings for teachers who will teach the subject of introduction into multiculturalism and Azerbaijani multiculturalism at both foreign and local universities. The center organizes summer and winter school. The summer school respectively for the students for the spring semester, and the winter school for the students from fall semester. And during that school, the center organized numerous trips to the regions of Azerbaijan in order to familiarize students with the customs and traditions of different ethnical groups, as well as acquiring knowledges in history, language, ethnography, and culture of Azerbaijan, which enables the students to strengthen their theoretical knowledge that they have already learned during the semester. Yet another Baku International Multiculturalism Center activity is worth mentioning. So the center holds regular real and virtual roundtables, conferences, symposiums, colloquiums, and international representatives of political, scientific, and cultural elite, including well-known public figures and heads of international organizations, are our participants. So recently we conducted, I brought some brochures. This is the virtual roundtables under the topics of, for example, interest in Azerbaijan grows into love for Azerbaijan. Another virtual roundtable is socioeconomic and spiritual development in harmony in present day in Azerbaijan, multicultural security, and teaching the course of the Azerbaijani multiculturalism at university abroad, challenges and perspectives. So, center participating in international forums and conferences like Caucasian Albania that was held in Silesian Pontifical University of Rome in Italy, in conference Multiculturalism in Azerbaijan Interfaith Dialogue, Historical Experience and Society Model of the Future that was held in Brandenburg Academy of Sciences in Germany with the participation of scholars from different countries and heads of religious confessions. Presentation of the book The Shared Values of Multiculturalism and Secularism in Azerbaijan and Switzerland was held in Geneva last year. Another roundtable was conducted in Dresden, Germany, under the topic The Multicultural Values in the Epos, the Book of Dede Gorgut. And one more colloquium was held in Dresden under the title Kitabi Dede Gorgut and Friedrich von Dietz 200. This is the work of our center. This is one of the tale of Dede Gorgut, which is called Basat Boyu. This tale of Dede Gorgut was translated by very prominent German Orientalist, scientist and writer Heinrich Friedrich von Dietz 200 years ago in 1815. And 200 years later, in 2015, our center just published the same tale, Basat Boyu, in 25 languages. We, including world language, together with the world languages, prominent world languages, here's the translation on the language of ethnical groups that living on the territory of Azerbaijan. And for example, can you imagine that this is one brochure, for example, in Chinese, which is spoken by 1 million people, and at the same time there is a tale translated into Khinalik language, which is spoken only by a small village, remote village in Azerbaijan, which is spoken not more than 1,200 people. And this is the unique work that was carried out by our center. So just recently, I would like to tell about another publication. Just recently was issued the first volume, Azerbaijani Literary and Artistic Sources of Azerbaijani Multiculturalism. This is the one volume of 3-volume analect, and this is very interesting work and was carried out with intellectual support of Academy of Sciences of Azerbaijan, experts and researchers. And Russian version of the book also has already been released. This is the Russian version, and the English version is supposed to be published by the end of this month, I mean by December 2016. I would like to say a little bit on content of this book, because I think that it's supposed to be very interesting for the colloquium participants. So the content down the centuries, classical Azerbaijani literature has fully reflected the atmosphere of multiculturalism and tolerance in all its facets, and this specific work serves an example of this. The book cites convincing example that our people and their progressive creative individuals retained other common human values as well, alongside tolerance and open-mindedness towards religions, and often made no division between what they considered ours and what they considered other. The opposition ours-other appears in the mildest form throughout the history of emergence of our people. A desire to embrace humanity as something whole, a need to find mental parallels uniting different peoples, attempts to bring different religions closer together by finding common features, an equally respectful attitude toward the holy places of all religions, morals that judge people not only on their religious beliefs but on their personal qualities, a call for compassion, mercy and empathy, and love as the highest and most important feeling, as a common principle of life, uniting all peoples regardless the language and religion, all these and other values reflected in this in this book. Not every work of literature is able to capture the spirit, rhythm, and pulse of society of that area. This literary example gives the fine illustration of the atmosphere of multiculturalism and tolerance that reigned in Azerbaijan society in different eras. They are artistic cardiogram of picture of the real life of our historic past. Azerbaijani literature is saturated with love from the work of Nizami, who declared the idea love is heavenly altar to be the quintessence of his work up to Javid, author of the lines, "My Lord is beauty and love." At all times that literature has sung the praises of love for humanity without dividing it along racial, ethnic, linguistic, and religious lines. Their literature saturated in the spirit with its moral and artistic values, the Azerbaijani people have made a lavish contribution to the treasure trove of common human values. Abdullah Shaikh said, "We are all atoms of a single sun." Muhammad Hadi laid down the challenge to mankind, "O people, we are all brothers." In a work by Hussein Javid, a small girl talks about her love for all humanity. Through the language of the Kamancha, Mirza Jalil touched the soul of the centurion, thirsty for revenge. He urged him to be merciful toward helpless but bitter enemy, full of hatred. That is the challenge him to win the victory over himself. Sayyid Azim Shirvani believed to be a man doesn't depend on being a Muslim. As he put all the misfortunes and sorrows of humanity in the mouth of Majnun, mouth of Majnun, Fizuli was concentrating them in his own breast as well as dreaming of saving the world from grief. And finally, Nizami, creator of the literary masterpiece Seven Beauties, which celebrates the friendship of people, so loved the slave he had been given that he married her. Though she spoke a foreign language and followed a different religion. Thereby, he became an example to future generations. This book presents poets and writers, representative of Azerbaijani classical literature, to the reader in an entirely new light. Looking at our literature from the position of multiculturalism is one of the main criteria determining this greatness. This allows us to see the history of national literature in a more colorful, multifaceted paradigm and to hear the dialogue of its era. So it is clear that having the values we are talking about not been scattered like stars across the firmament of our literature and culture, the path to the common treasure of humanity's spiritual values would have been thorny and impassable for us. But in fact, we overcome it with ease because to respect people who have different languages and religions, to talk reverently about every people, to treat them with genuine friendship and love, and embedded in our early classical words, in our Middle Ages and Renaissance poetry, and in the work of our writers of the democratic Enlightenment too. Our poetry refers respectfully to those who held sacred by different faiths, to Abraham, Moses, Solomon, Jacob, Jesus, and Mary. The finest comparison and similes restrained in the spirit of the captivating path of Eastern poetry are created in works dedicated to their lives and deeds. Artistic figures are created with comparison and without, which is evidence that tolerance and patience were typical of our people and that this atmosphere of multiculturalism reigned in this land. This can also be seen in the great respect shown in our classical literature for the scholars and writers of other peoples, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Euclid, Hippocrates, Goethe, Schiller, Shakespeare, Hugo, Voltaire, Rousseau, and praise for beauties from different lands and different faiths, the expression of pure, ardent love for them, and their deprivation for the suffering born in the name of the love actually enriched the lives of Ganturalı, Kerem, Sheikh Sanan, Bahadur, Ali, and other heroes. Even despite the something tragic outcome, these magnificent symphonies of love are unquestionably great works. All these initial generalizations are evidence that national and common human values have historically been intervened in the psychology and worldview of our people. This immense spiritual treasure trove has been preserved unchanged to these days, and the exalted hypersensitive layers of the soul of Azerbaijanis are amazing today too. We can confirm that the tolerance and inclinations toward multiculturalism typical of our people ruled in the centuries in the mind of the ancestors. So there are, of course, in this book we cite incontrovertible evidence and convincing answers to the question who created these values and how. There are, of course, far more answers that can be fitted into the publication, so it will be necessary in the future just to compile a fuller version of this book, which is something of trailblazer. And in the near future, as I told you before, the second volume will be released next year in 2017, which will be published under the name Philosophical and Journalistic Sources of Azerbaijani Multiculturalism, and the third volume will be called Political and Legal Sources of Azerbaijani Multiculturalism. And this three-volume analect is spiritual, scholarly, and political sources that took shape in the distant historical past of our people are presented it to this day. These sources are the richest wellspring and give a fine reflection of the inner world, mentality, and spiritual wealth of our people. Now I would like to just to present all these publications to the chair, Nizami Gandjavi chair, and as I told you before, so the second volume and the third volume will be released in 2017, and we definitely passed it to you, present it to you, library chair. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.